Right, we've got a rather big-ish derby on Sunday. I say big, it's not quite as big as it probably should have been, certainly should have been, but we're still going to give it the full 67 Hail treatment here with Jackie McNamara and John McGinley joining me, Hamish Carton. We're going to look at the teams we're going to play for the match and have a wee bit of a chat about how we think it's going to go as well. Right, I was kind of working out my team. That's the homework we were set, and I kind of realised halfway through that I no longer really know how Celtic play. I've kind of lost the track of who our good players are and what formation they should play in. So this is going to be a good laugh. We just work kind of through our team, try and come up with some sort of a combined team of what we would like to see played. Goalkeeper wise, it's going to be Scott Bain, isn't it? I mean, I'd rather Barkas played, but Scott Bain's going to play.
Yeah, I don't see him changing the goalkeeper. I think if anything, he would have changed him when he first came back into the job, and he's not done anything really wrong since then. Clean sheet last week. Saved one of his nose last week as well. So no, I don't see him changing the goalkeeper.
Yeah, I've got Bain down as well. I don't think you can kind of just throw Barkas in for a derby after what's happened to him this season. So be very surprised. It's probably the right choice, but we'll see what happens with Barkas in the summer, I suppose. John Joe Kenny right back. I think that's a no-brainer, isn't it?
Yeah,
it has to be. And to be honest, I think if fit, the other three are no-brainers as well. You'd have Welsh, Ayer, and Greg Taylor. We don't know quite whether Taylor will be back, but I certainly hope he would be. I don't know if he's even played and started a derby yet, has he?
He hasn't.
It's been lax out, so hopefully Greg Taylor's in. But Welsh feelings in that, Jackie. We kind of confident to have Welsh play. Obviously, he's already played a derby, but still a big ask for a young guy.
Yeah, but I would put my head of what's there in that position just now. I think I don't see that changing for this game. I'd probably have more trust in Welsh than the other ones that are in the books just now.
Yeah. That's a four that I've got as well, and that kind of picks itself. I would suggest if they're all fit, as Hamish said. Beaton's back training, but I doubt that he's going to be thrown in cold into the centre defence, and there's question marks about him anyway. So it'll be Ayer and Welsh, and hopefully Welsh is a good game. It's another big opportunity for him. And Ayer's going to have to be a leader in that defence because he'll be the most experienced that. Despite his young age, he'll be the most experienced of this kind of match. So, but I think that's when he kind of shines sometimes when he is given that responsibility. So I'd look forward to seeing that. The midfield's probably the most contentious area of the pitch in terms of shape and personnel. The people will be crying for Ismaila Soro to start. Other people will be saying you can't take Scott Brown out of the team at the moment. Where do you guys lie in that? Jackie first, yeah.
I can see both sides. It just surprised me why Soro's not featured quite a bit recently. And I think with Neil, he'd had a little bang or something with his car or something. Then it was just kind of left out the team for a few weeks, and then obviously with John coming in the last couple of games, he's not played him either. So maybe he's kind of tailed off a little bit in his performances, in training and. But I don't see a massive difference in this game. I think this is going to be, for me, it's got to be the diamond, keep the diamond shape as we did the last time against Rangers, where it's Brown. They are just protecting that area in the discipline. They doesn't need to tear about doesn't need the legs and running about crazy in there. Just keeping the discipline, and the other ones around him. McGregor on the left of him, Christie, and at the top of it, Turnbull, for me.
Do you not fancy James Forrest coming back and having James Forrest on the right, El Yunusi on the left, or even Johnston on the left?
I would keep Forrest. I think you even just watch him last week against Dundee United when he came on. He looked quite a bit off. They lost possession and they broke forward. Actually, they should have scored at that point, United. But I think it's a big ask to start him. I think maybe look to bring him on in this game when the game starts to get stretched, because Rangers will overload the midfield area. They'll have their three, they'll have their two sitting, another one floating, and then the two kind of wider ones will come and overload, which would probably be Kent and Aribo or Hadji will just come into little pockets. So the two full-backs need to be aware of that. They're not just staying in a back four most of the time. They need to be communicating with the midfielders.
Hamish, what's your midfield looking like? Are you going for the Soro? Are you going for the Twitter consensus with Soro?
No, well, but I don't think Sorrow will play. I think it'll be Scott Brown. Sorrow's barely featured, and the fact we've not had a game in a fortnight, I think Brown will be fresh and raring to go. My idea was to play the same formation that worked to a certain extent at Ibrox. It's probably something that will be forgotten this season and everything that's happened, because we've been completely obliterated in the league, but we played them off the park for certainly the first half. Like, I've never seen Rangers so clueless this season. They couldn't keep the ball. We should have been 2 or 3 up in that first half at Ibrox. So I would like to see us giving that a go again. But I do think it'll be Brown instead of Sorrell sitting, McGregor on the left, Christie on the right, and Turnbull behind. For me, Griffiths and Edward. I know throwing Griffiths back in may be a little bit controversial. He's only played, I think, about 20 minutes in the last month. He's really not featured much, but for me, he's still our second best striker, and as much as he missed a few chances at Ibrox last time, and he hit the bar and stuff like that, I still would back him and Edward to maybe score a goal each on Sunday if they were to play. So that's me. That's Griffiths and Edward. Jackie, do you want to beat that?
Yeah, I would go the same. I would have Griffiths would occupy the two centre backs. He always kind of plays in between them on the shoulder, which stretches the game, which allows Edward, especially because their width comes from both full-backs. Barisic, where not Tavernier plays, I don't know if he's fit enough this weekend, but their width relies on their full-backs, and I think that's where, if you move the ball quickly when they get possession back, would it be Edward going into the little pockets onto the left-hand side, running at them, can cause Goldson problems, and likewise other side it's Hollander. So, and I think Griffiths gives you that. It's just something different. I think the boy's a natural goal scorer. It's that's what surprised me last week against Dundee United. You never brought him on. Earlier in the game, for their reasons. You're needing the goals. You're needing, would it be a free kick? Would it be, half a chance? He's always likely to hit the target, and ask the keeper a question. So I would definitely start with Griffiths, and where you get an hour out of him or 70 minutes. You have to wait and see, but I definitely think he could be the difference.
And what's our key here to victory? Is it McGregor and Christie getting forward and linking up with Turnbull? Is Turnbull going to be the key man here in terms of creating for us, or do you see this as a game for Edward to be the main man and shine?
I think you need all of them, to be honest. I think you need. I don't think it's going to be an individual that's going to, win the game. I think it needs to be a real team effort. They need to work as a team out of possession. And make sure their difficulties need to drop into a lot of areas, and be clever with it. And I definitely think that you can exploit them if you do things quickly. You can get in behind them with Goldson, and between the full backs and centre halves, a bit like our team, to be honest. The way we've shaped up. If you take one of our centre halves out and put them in the right back area, they kind of struggle. And I think that's the same with them if you move them around, and take our chances. The last game, obviously, McGregor was in good form, as he has been most of this season. He's been a real plus for them this season. So. But I think that's where you can hurt them. The dead balls, they need to be careful in both boxes. Defensively, they don't have a great delight in the team, which means they shouldn't be zonal marking. They should be picking up a man each and knowing who their man is before, and have that responsibility to make sure their man doesn't put the ball on.
Hamish, how important is it to you as a Celtic fan that Rangers don't go unbeaten in the Premiership this season, and that Celtic could be the team to stop them? Is that a big thing for you? Do you feel that heading into these last two derbies, or is that just a kind of side story to what's going on this year?
It's not a totally major issue for me. The bragging rights are with them no matter what happens between now and the end of the season. They've won the league, they've stopped us winning 10 in a row, so I've kind of come to terms with that. To be honest, I'm kind of over that, and I'm looking forward to next season. It's more, rather than stopping them going unbeaten, it's more us beating them that's a big thing for me. Just giving us something to take forward into next season, giving some of our players experience of beating them. I know the league table tells a different story, and I know we've been awful this season, but I still firmly believe that they are not as far ahead of us as many people believe, and I think you'll see a turnaround of some sort next season if we get a good manager in. But for now, I just want Celtic to leave a mark on Rangers this week. I want us to not necessarily put them back in their place, because they'll still be X number of points clear, but I just want to see Celtic turn up in a big game this season and put in a proper performance, and not for 45 minutes like we did at Ibrox or 60 minutes at Ibrox. I want us to put in 90 minutes, and I want us to take our chances when they come, and I want us not to give them any daft chances. I can't say I'm massively confident for the game, because how could you be when you see the way we're playing and you see the way they're playing in Europe? But I still give us a fighting chance. I'll always give us a fighting chance in a derby. And if we're sitting here on Sunday evening talking about Celtic beating Rangers, something will be good in the world. We'll be a bit happier for a change, and it won't right all the wrongs of this season. But at least we could do a video next Monday and have some sort of smiles on our face. Jackie, I won't ask you for a prediction or anything like that, but how are you feeling generally about the game?
I think it's strange, and obviously interested to see what team he picks first and foremost, if he has learned from last week. I think that was a disappointing thing last week at the changes he made, or when he made them. I believe you still have the right players there to make an impact. To just what we are saying there. Them on form should be able to cause them problems, should more than capable of winning the match if everybody does their jobs properly. So I think that's what you're looking for, is that kind of commitment and the desire to go and show a bit of pride and give the fans something to cheer about. The league's gone, it's been a bit of a disaster, but they've still got a Scottish Cup to play for this season. So let's get the team going, start properly and get a bit of momentum going, and then see what happens for the remainder of the season before things start changing with whoever comes in as manager.
I mean, yeah, I'm not going to lie, I'm slightly concerned about this game. It's a strange one, because whenever I've watched Rangers in the Scottish Premiership this season, I've never found them that impressive when they've been live on the TV, but whenever I've seen them in Europe, I've always found them very impressive, and I think this match is more like a European match for them than a domestic one, and I just think sometimes they play better when the standard of opposition might be perceived as more equal. So that's a bit of a concern. I mean, I thought they were really good against Slavia Prague last week, and that was a great result, and that's the worry. But yeah, again, I agree with you guys. I think we've got a chance. I don't think it's a foregone conclusion by any means, and I think it would be silly to write off any team in a derby. Jackie, from a player's perspective, will they be thinking about like a potential whitewash this season at all, or will that enter into their thinking? And is that a disadvantage if we do get beat by Rangers in these next two games? Does that play psychologically into next season or anything like that?
No. Once, to be honest, once the season's finished, it's finished.
Right.
It doesn't matter if Celtic win the next two, then go on and win the Scottish Cup. It'll still be finished at the end of the season. It's a new start, a new manager, new everything. So I think just for themselves, to give them that lift and confidence. You don't want to lose to them, in every game. I think that would be a bit of a disaster, and it's something we're used to for a number of years. So I think for pride, it's important to get back. I agree with what you're saying about Rangers. Will play it, come in to Celtic Park like they have been successful in Europe, because it suits them. The counter attack, they've got pace. They come in and overload the midfield, as I said. They're with from the fullbacks, whereas domestically most of the teams sitting against them, which they need, but they still, maybe not as as free flowing, because everybody's behind the ball. But they seem to find a way to win this season, which Celtic haven't, and that's been the downfall.
Interesting stuff. Right, we'll be back next Monday then. Hopefully there'll be 3 smiles on our faces after I was going to say a famous Celtic win. It won't exactly be famous, but at least, as I say, it will give us some sort of positivity to chat about. Goes without saying as well, we'll have far more videos in the lead up to the game as well, discussing other things. Guys, thanks very much. Remember, if you're watching this video and you've not yet subscribed to the channel, please give that a go, and we'll speak to you soon.